and and good afternoon, professors and all the participants here. My name is Kimhor. Yeah, I'm here to share my research topic is talking about using 5E instructional model in inquiry-based learning in mathematics teaching, which I choose one of the lesson about inequations. So I will show you about my video record. Yeah. Please enjoy with the video
let
record.
A few minutes rest, so
yeah.
We're gonna play the video presentation record for you.
Generation Pedagogical Research Centers. I'm here to share my research topic is talking about using 5E instructional model in inquiry-based learning in mathematics teaching in relations of inequations. So teacher is the key person who provide or transfer knowledge to the student and be in charge in the education system and also the determinant of the school qualities. Thus, teachers require specific knowledge, skill, attitude, and the way to develop their profession according to the 21st century classroom. According to the Minister of Education, Youth and Sport, said during the New Generation Pedagogical Research Center Inauguration Day about promoting the modern teachings in the classroom, and it's also included 5E instructional model. But how many teachers know about 5E and can apply it effectively in the classroom? Otherwise, a trainer who prepared train about 5Es at the National Institute of Education mentions that most of the teachers are difficult to recognize the sequence of using 5Es. So the researchers aim to introduce of using 5E instructional model in mathematics teachings, and the research will guide the teachers or the reader who are willing to try these methods in their teaching performance. I have three of research objectives. First, to encourage and develop teaching activities which promote 5E instructional model in inequality lessons, to identify the benefit and challenges of using 5E, and to identify role of teachers and students in 5E instructional model. To answer those research objectives, I have three research questions. First, in which way 5E instructional model in inquiry-based learning can put in teaching inequations, and what are the benefits and challenges of using 5E instructional model, and what is the role of 5E instructional model for teachers and students. For the methodologies of the research, I used the kind of research synthesis according to May, Pop, and Popeye 2005, gives the definitions of research synthesis to involve the purposeful selections, review, analysis, and synthesis of primary research report on an identical topics. It means that researchers find the source, synthesize, consult the source to produce a new one. So let's move to the result of the study. Before I jump to what I have found about 5E instructional model, I would like to introduce about what is 5E. Yeah. Okay, 5E model developed in 1987 by the Biological Science Curriculum Study to promote the collaborative active learning in which students work together to solve problems and investigate new concepts by asking questions, observing, analyzing, and drawing conclusions. And 5E is contained with 5 phases that start from letter E is engage, explore, explain, elaborate, and evaluate. So I will give you more detail about each phase to my next present slide. So here is engage. Engage it means that the teachers have to assess the student prior knowledge, what they have learned about the existing knowledge that related to the real life sometime, and create student interest in the topic. When the teachers, before jumping to the new lessons, teachers have to create the interest. When the student interest the lessons, it's easy for teachers or easy for students to get or to catch up the new lesson. So teachers can show the graph, pictures, demonstrate, or experiment to the student. And engage students into active learning through the activities. So when the teachers have the activities, students will be enjoyed. Yeah. So here is my example that I created. So I use the concept cartoon, or I have the picture for the student to compare about inequations. So when the students show about the cartoon, they might be think that it is make them more interested, like for laughing, thinking, or sad, and it is also stand for them for of each the student, so they can think freely uh, what the idea about the equations, about the answer, so that when they get the answer they can show what they think, or the reason why they think like that. Is it right or wrong? Is it okay? um for the explore phase here, it means it is the collaborative learning or group discussion have been used in the explore phase. So teachers have to divide student or encourage student to work in group, and then let them to investigate the concept that the teachers gave. Yeah, so they can find or do the research. They can go to the library or searching from their smartphone or from the internet to get more result or to get more information to support their concept. And here is my explanation, sorry, for my example. And it means I give them with the exercise, two of the exercise, and divide them into a group, into the small group, 4 or 5 students of each group, and then they start to group the exercise and draw it on the linear number. And after the explore phase is going to the explain. For the explain phase, it means the teacher acts as a facilitator. So it means when we apply 5E in the classroom during the explain phase, teachers not the one who's explain the result, but the person who explain the result is for student. Teachers act as the facilitator that help students as needed, and the student provide explanations about the concept that they have found, that they got from the research. So here is my example. So it means when I give them 2 exercise to prove, and then they have proof, and they have the presence their answer here. After that, they come to the stage and sharing their result to the whole class. And for the students who are sitting in the class, they can raise the questions, or if they need any for the information or for the explanations, they can raise their hand. And to the next phase is about elaborate phase. Elaborate is for teachers that give a new concept for the student to do the investigate. So the concept is might be deeper or familiar to the concept. So it means it might be deeper if the teachers think, observe that most of the student or the student in the class, they understand about the previous concept that he gave to the student as correct, or they understand also the teacher can be give the deeper. If they observe that the students still not understand it clearly, so they can give familiar concepts to the students to do the investigate or to do the explanations again. So in this phase, the teachers may use the explore and explain phase again in the elaborate phase. So, and here is my example. So I give a new concept which is not deeper, and it's similar to the previous one for the student, and then they work in group and find the grouping the exercise and write their result, and after that they go to the stage and present what they have done. And the last phase is evaluate phase. So evaluate phase is the phase that the teachers assess to know about the student knowledge, so that teachers can be assessed both formal and informal assessment. So formal here refers to the test, so teachers can create a test for students to do. And informal assessment, it means that teachers can observe the student activities start from the engage phase until the elaborate phase. So teachers may know about the student knowledge through the activities. And for students also, they can do as the cell assessment. They can reflect to by their own self, or they can work in pair with their their classmate, or teachers can create as a writing assignment, or do as the exam, or you can do as demonstrate, or you can create as the educational game. As for my example, I use the educational game to evaluate my student knowledge, so that I divide student into 4 groups, and each group I give the card of the positive, negative, and also the uh, equations symbol. So when the number of positive and negative create with the create the exercise, so the student who have the symbol of inequation, they have to attend to that, but to make sure that it is right. And in this slide, or in this section, is talking about the teachers and student role in 5Es. So for engage first, it means, as I mentioned in the previous slide, that the teachers have to create interest, to make student interest in the lessons. That is very important. And for student is asking the question why or what in the first phase of engage. And for the explore, teachers engage students to work in group and give time and act as the facilitator to help when they need it for any further informations or asking the questions. And students work in group to do the investigate, research, or find out the solution for the concept that the teacher gave. And for the explain phase, teachers encourage students to share. It means teachers not the one who sharing or present or explain the concept. Student is the one responsible to explain the concept by their own self. And in elaborate phase, teachers encourage students to apply the new concept. I mean, teachers give a new concept for the student. Is it deeper or familiar to the previous concept? And the student applies those concepts and then start to investigate and do the explanations again. And for the last phase is evaluate. So teachers can assess the formative assessment or formal, informal assessment. Yeah, and also the classroom, the engage phase until elaborate phase to know about the student understanding about the lesson. And for student, just answer open-ended questions, or they can reflect to their own self, or work with the peer, or writing the assessment. And let's move to the teacher perception on 5Es in IBL. In these sections, I want to give more detail about this. And when the teacher or the reader read my research, they will know about what is the benefit and what is the challenges. So when they know about the challenges, they may find out the possible solution to deal with those challenges before they apply into the classroom. So the benefit is that to actively engage students in their own learning. So when they learn something by their own, so it means they will have more sense or interest in the learning, and motivate students to increase the learning level and expand it domain. So when they learn and practice at the same time, it means their knowledge will be higher than before. It might be goes to the higher order thinking skill in Bloom taxonomy, where students can analyze or create something new by their own. Active role in learning and constructions of knowledge, and more efficient and well organized. So when the teachers apply 5E in the classroom, it is have the stake of phase or activity that introduce or guides teachers to do in the class. That is it for teachers. For the challenges related to time, time in here related to the class hour. So when we apply 5E, we have a lot of activities, so we need more time. And resource, so it related to material or equipment. If you want to do the experiment, do you have equipment or material for you and also for the student can do the experiment or not? Professional development in here really important, because teachers cannot apply 5E into classroom without getting the training or workshop. And for the science topic or content, it means not every content that the teachers can apply 5E into the lessons. And here is my conclusions. When we apply 5E, I found out that 5E can motivate students, engage students into an active learning process, facilitate collaborations and teamwork, help students from conclusions through questioning, investigating, observing, analyzing, and problem solving. When we apply those 5 first, so the student will get all of this in my conclusions. And after the end of my presentation, I would recommend to the Ministry of Education, Youth and Sport should provide training or workshop to the teachers, and textbook developers should provide more specific detail and update this model into a textbook curriculum study. Teacher training institute should integrate this model to train students who become teachers, and recommend to the teacher who are willing to apply this method, give a try to apply it, and recommend for any further researchers should do as a primary research or experimental research design to get the specific data and analyze how effective it is. So, and thank you for your attention. If you have any question, please ask, or you can drop to my email.
So thank you very much for your presentation, Kimhor. So far, we have got a lot of questions in hands in the topic. It's about 5As, and it's really interesting. So allow me to read the question from a participant for you, and you have around 3 minutes to answer the question, and there are a lot of questions in chat box. So thank you. So I just try to combine the question together from our participant. So one of the question is stated that how would you implement 5Es in a diversity classroom? Which means how could you implement 5Es within the student in disability classroom?
Okay, thanks for the questions. Yes, when we apply 5E in the classroom with the, we can say, mixed ability student. So 5E also have the state, I mean each state. So it mean in the explore phase, we can group student together. So it mean for students who are weak or it mean smart. So we can combine to the, we can say, quality, yes, quality of the student. When it means of each group we have big student on smart student, so we can so those smart student can have student who are weak. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. So here come another question. I just try to combine the question together, see the question. So there are a lot of questions in chat box. So here come another question. What can be contributed in your research to inform or the others practitioner to practice 5A? What can be contributed in your research?
Sorry, can you read the question again?
What can be contributed? What can be applied based on your research to the educators conducting 5A in the classroom?
I cannot catch up your question.
Once again, so to what criteria the research that you have conducted, can be applied to the, classroom setting? So All right. So thank you. Just try to come with another question. One last question for you. How to integrate 5Es effectively in teaching with a big class size, at least 45 students, similar to the first question.
Yes, okay, that is similar to the previous questions that asking about the diversity student. Yes, so they can group the student, but it need more space for the student because it has a lot of student and we have to be. When we apply 5E, it is affect for, it means the small group. It means 4 or 5 students of each group. And then the teachers give a role of each student. It means can be a leader of the group and the one who is the presenter and the one who is the take note. So that is, it means the teacher have to work hard. It means to identify the role of the student. And as for my idea, I think if they have full amount of the student, they can go outside the class and do the group discussion. It is easy for the teachers and for also students to do the activities also.
Yeah, thank you very much for your explanation. I am pretty sure that this presentation as well as question and answer would be useful for our audience. So because of time constraint, we could not answer all questions that have been dropped in the chat box, and let us sorry for that. So here comes to the end of the presentation. Thank you very much for your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.